So, Jem, you joined Level Up back in August 2025.
Yep.
What was life like for you before you joined?
Um, so for me, I'd had quite a tough few years. For one reason or another, I'd had two different medical diagnoses that were basically inflammation related illnesses. So it had quite knocked me off my feet in terms of what I was able to do exercise wise, even on a daily basis. I'd wake up every day feeling like, oh, I haven't slept very well last night because my joints ached so much, or I was just tired, lethargic, had no motivation to do anything. Subsequently, that led to me gaining weight, just losing all confidence in myself and and my happiness, really, I'd say. I was just quite a bit of a shadow to what I previously was. I've always been quite a bubbly, happy go lucky girl, doesn't take life too seriously. But I really felt that I'd hit quite a rock bottom, I'd say, in terms of how I was feeling mentally and physically. So yeah, wasn't the best.
And what made you actually join? Like, why did you join Level Up?
So obviously I've known you for a number of years and always respected the work that you do. And I know I'd had many conversations with you of like, oh, Rach, I need help. But I think I'd really hit that point. I was on holiday. I felt miserable on that. Well, not miserable with on the holiday, but in myself. It's like when you want to get your bikini on, get dressed up and whatever else, and everything I put on, I just remember thinking, oh, I'm just not happy. I just really didn't feel like me. And at the time, I know that you were, launching one of your new take-ons for August. And I'll be honest, I might have had a couple of cocktails and thought, yeah, why not? Let's give this a go. I just had hit that point that something had to change. And I'd been toying with it for quite some time, but I think looking back, I'd been making quite a few excuses as to why it wasn't the right time to join. I remember saying to you, wasn't it? Oh, I just don't feel well enough to join. I felt like my illness was really holding me back. But looking back now and how much I know that Level Up's helped that to be, in a much better position, I wish I'd done it sooner. But, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'm glad I did it at the time I did because I really, really was at that position of like, the hospital and the doctors couldn't, I mean, they were trying to help me, but nothing was happening quick enough. And I remember saying to you, if you can help me, Rach, you can help anybody. And I 100% stick to that because I really didn't believe that anything was going to change. Not because of you, but I just felt with my poorliness, nothing was going to be able to help me. So yeah, it was a kind of now or never moment, just crack on and do it sort of thing.
I think that's such an important point because the bottom line is you were and still are affected
Yeah,
by these things and it was consuming your life, right? Like we're not
absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
not just talking about a runny nose.
Oh,
Like
no, no, no.
this was serious stuff and is
Yeah.
serious stuff that for the average person, like you are within your right to say I can't do something and like
Yeah.
I can't get out of this cycle that I'm stuck in. But I guess what I'm interested to know, and I'm sure other people would be, is what really changed your mind other than we joke about the cocktails and like what because you said such an important thing there about the doctors, like the doctors who you think should be able to help you and
Yeah.
not taking anything away from them, but they weren't able to help you. So like
No.
what made you think you needed something different?
Um, so I think for me, so initially so I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis first of all. That was a few years ago. And then January 2025, I was diagnosed with inflammatory arthritis. And I think that was the bigger thing for me because I knew that that was something that, was massively affecting my joints. Getting up and trying to move on a daily basis was horrendous. So they'd managed to get my colitis under control with meds. That was okay. But the arthritis was just a nightmare. I think I tried, by the time August had hit, I'd tried three different medications. Every medication I tried gave me worse side effects than the inflammatory arthritis itself. So I was in that real catch 22 situation of, do I keep plodding on with another medication? Um, or do I try and take better care of myself and do a whole rehaul or revamp, sorry, of like me I'd watched so many of your stories and your pictures of you sharing things of women that were achieving these incredible results. And I just thought maybe I need to give something else a try. And if I put some time back into me and just focus on me for once, maybe that's going to have a knock-on effect and will ultimately help. If I could just get moving a bit more, if I could eat a bit better, if I could pick myself up from being in this massive slump, which is why I thought I need to try something else. Meds aren't working. Well, I mean, they might have worked eventually, but to push through the barrier of the side effects was too much. I was feeling sick. I, you know, nauseous, non-stop headaches. I was losing my hair. One of the medications was it was something that they use for cancer patients. It was things. So it was such severe side effects that was something that I just knew that I didn't want to be on long term. And if there was anything else I could do to try and help myself, I was willing to give it a shot.
Mm. So, speaking of trying stuff,
Yeah.
what have you achieved? Because the list is not short. What have you achieved since August 2025?
So initially, when I joined, I went with the mindset all or nothing. And I know that's a mindset that we try to get away from, but I did go like all in. I thought if I'm doing this, then I am 100% throwing myself into it. So very quickly, I completely overhauled my diet. I studied your videos of what to eat. You've obviously spoken a lot about trying to follow a less ultra processed diet, which I think for me was the key point. I didn't actually realize how much processed food I was eating until I then completely switched it out and just went for a full like whole foods diet. So I've changed all of that. I remember again when you set me my steps target being like, no chance. How am I going to ever hit that milestone? I sit on my bum all day in work. How am I going to hit those steps? But I slowly got into a routine where I was like, okay, right, how am I going to make this work for me? So I'm now, hitting my steps consistently. I don't think I could even go a morning without waking up and moving myself to some degree. I'm working out 3 times a week, and I think another thing that was big for me was time. And so the fact that you were able to set me home workouts, there was no excuse then. It wasn't like, oh, I can't get to a gym. I've set everything up at home. So that's my time. That's me. Um, yeah, so I basically just followed exactly what you told me to do.
You're a
And it
dream.
worked.
You're a dream. And as a result of you following everything, what have you gone on to achieve over the past 8 months?
So I've lost, I think it's about £18 now in weight, which is amazing. Although I will want hand on my heart say the weight loss for me doesn't actually mean anything. I think the fact that I now feel extremely content in myself. I'm happy again. I feel like I've got a love for life again. I can, I don't have to go to bed of a night and think, oh my God, how am I going to feel tomorrow morning? Am I going to sleep tonight? My sleep patterns are more regulated. I've got more energy. My stress levels are lower. Everyone around me is noticing what an impact it's had on, I think, just my general, just general Gem. She's back to her normal self again. So yeah, I've lost weight. I think I can't even remember the amount of inches I've lost, but I think I tallied it up the other day. It was like about 20 inches, something like that. My energy levels are like up here, probably a little bit too high at times. If you ask my family from the weekend party, they're like, "Why are you so energetic?" But yeah, my skin issues have resolved, so my hair's growing back again, which is great. Most importantly, I have not been on any medication since I want to say about November last year, I think, is when I stopped taking it all. And that's when I also got signed off from the physio for my joint issue. So they were happy that all of the inflammation in my joints had significantly reduced. And as long as I was going to be careful and not push myself too hard, they didn't see that I was going to have an issue. Maybe get the odd flares, but that's part and parcel. But on the whole, I feel incredible and I'm so happy.
I got goosebumps listening to all of that. So I know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
When you just say it all, it's like, wow, like
Yeah,
you have done all of that, which is incredible.
I know. And if I think that, like I said to you the other day, if Gem last April could see herself now. I remember when it was my birthday last year and I was going for a night out with my friends and I was having such a crisis because I just looked in the mirror and thought, I don't know who this girl is standing back at me. I don't I don't feel like me. I don't want to socialize. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything, which was so far from me. And if I could have, just held up a crystal ball and said, just hang on in there, it'll be okay. I would have, I would have never believed that this could be such a transformation in such a short space of time.
I'm so proud of you. Like,
Oh, thank you. I'm
absolutely.
so glad you took a chance on me because you probably thought, oh God, no, I appreciate I went to you, didn't I, with so many health concerns, and you must have thought, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do with her?
I think it like, there's only so much I can do in that sense of things. But
Yeah,
you said this near the start of this video is like you knew it had to come from the other things you weren't doing, which
yeah,
is taking better care of yourself. And
yeah,
I do believe that's something that a lot of people overlook, and that's not taken away from the health issues that you
no,
have or that anyone's got, because that, touch wood, people don't suffer, but sometimes these things do happen. But if you can control as much of the external
yeah,
stuff, then you put yourself in the best possible position. And that's exactly what you have done. And,
yeah.
the fact that we're halfway through your journey now is mad, because imagine where we're going to be by the end of this year.
Oh, I know. It just, yeah, I think so much changed in such a short space of time, which I think was such a key factor in the fact of I really wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else, and everybody else was coming first. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I work full time. I've got a family that, I'm one of those people that will do anything for everybody. And I was probably bottom of the pile. And from actually putting myself top of the pile and taking better care of me and reflecting on what needed to be done to help Jem, I'm actually helping everybody else so much better than I ever was before.
Literally couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
What would you say to anyone that's on the fence right now of joining, like you were for so long?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was on the fence for so long because I just genuinely didn't believe anything was going to change.
Yeah.
So I hope that from me being as honest as possible is living proof that if you just take a chance on yourself, sometimes things can change and massively turn around in a short space of time. So I understand why people are reserved, but from a person that's jumped straight in, gone for it, I would 100% recommend this to anybody. I'd say I'm pretty much living proof that you can definitely change and reverse. Not, I'm not saying I've completely cured myself, but I've certainly reversed the downward trend that I was on in terms of my health, and it's certainly massively on the up again.
Amazing. Love it. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.